This is the most ironic elevator ever because, hey, it's only going down in this movie. It never goes up. It only goes down in Tropic Thunder. You're talking about four prima donna, pompous, Hollywood satire, bad motherfuckers doing a movie about doing a motherfucking movie, and they are in the shit. They took these boys and they put them in the shit.
Yeah. This is a movie that we have, we watch religiously. We quote religiously.
Yes.
And it felt like just another weekend.
Come on, man, spit that shit out.
It felt like just another weekend to put this movie on and enjoy it. I think the best and quickest summary of Tropic Thunder comes from an anonymous poster on IMDb saying, through a series of freak occurrences, a group of actors shooting a big-budget war movie are forced to become the soldiers they are portraying. That pretty much sums up the movie in a nutshell. But let's throw it over to Brandon so we can really sink our teeth into Tropic Thunder before we dive all the way in. Brandon.
Hey, B, you're up.
Tropic Thunder is a movie about people who shouldn't be in the same room together for that long being stuck in the jungle with each other. For a ridiculous reason. So we open with like 4 different trailers and or advertisements. The first one is an advertisement for booty, sweat, and bust a nut bars. So they kind of like set up all their character development to tell you like what kind of actors we're dealing with for this film, like right off the get-go. So you have Al Pacino, who's I guess he just makes money. I don't know if he's an actor. I don't know if he's like a entrepreneur. I don't know what this dude is. I just know that he loves the pussy. After that one comes up an action adventure flick starring Tug Speedman, who is played by Ben Stiller, and it's called Scorcher 6. It's basically making fun of the fact that there's like a billion Fast and the Furious movies, or there's like a billion Mission Impossible movies. And it's kind of funny because Tom Cruise is actually in this film later on. Oh yeah, who left the fridge open? It's so stupid. And then you get to Jeff Portnoy, who is played by Jack Black. Acted his fucking dick off in this movie, by the way. You see a trailer for Fatties 2. Fatties 2 is a play on the Clumps, I think, for the most part, where like Jeff Portnoy and or Jack Black play like 6 different characters. A bullshit, I guess, family movie about farts. After that trailer's done, you get to Satan's Alley, which is the prequel to the first Spider-Man movie. 2 gay men in the, I guess, the ranks of priesthood or monkdom, and that's something. It was a Spider-Man prequel we all deserved. Out of all 3 of those trailers, I would watch Satan's Alley before I'd watch Fatties 2 or Scorcher 6. And then you get a narration card that says like, out of the 10 men who went into the jungle, only 4 came home. Out of those 4, 3 wrote books. Out of those 3 books, 2 got published. 1 of them only got a movie deal. This is the story of the people that tried to make that movie. So we open on a helicopter, Ball of Confusion by the Temptations is playing. The scene unfolds on itself throughout that whole sequence, and then eventually gets to a point where Kirk Lazarus has to do a scene with Tug Speedman. Tug can't cry, and that's a big fucking deal. So, because the directors can't really wrangle the fucking cast, because he's a first-time director, it results in Danny McBride's character Cody blowing up an entire tree line, and that shot was $4 million that literally just got fucking wasted in one take. I gotta go potty. You hold my dick? So this fucking botching of this scene leads to a meeting with Les, the studio head, who is played by Tom Cruise. So Tom Cruise has a key grip punch Cockburn in the face. Where's that limey director? While there's this meeting going on, there's a party outside, and before the party, Tug is on the phone with his agent, like most actors do after a nice day of shooting. He conveys the idea that didn't go as well as he wanted to, and blah, 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 blah. Rick, who's played by Matthew McConaughey, and he is really weird. This is where the subplot starts. Jeff Portnoy, to do this film, was like hardly insurable because he's apparently like a heroin, cocaine, and glue, and I don't even know what the third one is on him, and he was arrested. And it's kind of funny, the parallel between Robert Downey Jr. in real life and Jeff Portnoy in Tropic Thunder. There was a long time there where Robert Downey Jr. wasn't insurable to like make movies. So he had to forfeit his actual like what he was going to be paid to do the movie to be in the movie. We cut back to like Cockburn freaking out, trying to wrangle his actors, trying to have like an impromptu actors meeting because he's a rookie director. He's freaking the fuck out, and his actors being little shitheads. He went over to the beach, drank some booze, and then Four Leaf, who is Four Leaf, wrote the book that this fake film that they're shooting has been made based off of. And he speaks in riddles. He's basically that fucking dude from Jaws all over again. Four Leaf suggests that if you want to make this movie right, then you got to take these like actors into the fucking jungle, rig the jungle, and like have them just go at it. And so they do that. Cut to the next day. Cockburn, they all fly into the jungle. They all get to this like patch of like conveniently pushed down grass in the middle of the fucking jungle. Cockburn does his like Jesus Christ superstar bit, calls them all bitches and tells them they gotta nut up or shut up and they gotta fucking do it, right? He explodes. At this point, the helicopter's flown away with Cody and Nick Nolte's character, Four Leaf. They fly the fuck away. They heard an explosion, so they're like on the radio trying to get a hold of Cockburn, be like, Cockburn. He's not getting a reply. The actors think this is all just a part of the fucking like bit. Meanwhile, actual Vietnamese rebels are in the tree line watching this happen. And they're like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? You get more calls on the radio from Cody, and he's like, hey man, That's when the rebels start open firing on our cast to retaliate because they still think they're in a movie. Start shooting blanks into the fucking tree line. And then Cody hears all that shit, but he hasn't gotten like a go from Cockburn. So he waits for a few seconds. Then he blows the tree line that the rebels are in, causing them to retreat. So they start following the map. They got to get to their next scene location. Danny McBride and Four Leaf Clover dude, they get out of the helicopter and they start fucking looking for like something. And that's when they stumble upon Cockburn's blown the fuck up body. Four Leaf actually has hands. He doesn't have hooks for hands. Portnoy needs his jelly beans. And this is when Kurt and Tug talk about Simple Jack. This is the never go full scene. And it talks about Sean Penn and Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump charmed the pants off anybody. Olympic champion, war hero. Then it he just like goes off, and he's totally right about all of it. We cut back to Cody and Four Leaf, and that's when they get captured by the Vietnamese rebels. Four Leaf never went to Vietnam. He was like in sanitation on Coast Guard during Vietnam. He never went to Vietnam, and everything that he wrote about in this book is a fucking lie. This is when the cast starts to argue over the map. Sandusky is the only character in the film that actually knows how to fucking read a map. Everybody else is kind of stupid because they're actors. They don't know dick about shit. Portnoy is kind of weird and starting having withdrawals a little bit. You OD'd. Jack Black. Kirk Lazarus walks up to Sandusky. He's like, hey man, I gotta pee. And he just starts like emptying out the canteen. He's like, yo, so you're the only one that learned all that, how to do all this shit, right? And he's like, yeah. He's like, hey, what if I got you that map and you could read the map and tell us how fucking lost we are? And he's like, yeah. Tug walks up to Sandusky. He's like, hey man, I ain't gotta pee. So they're doing the pee thing, and then I'm like, yeah, jungle montage, Vietnam! And then they just like cut it off a little bit short. While they're crossing the river in this scene, Kirk is like talking to Tug and kind of like stroking his ego a little bit when he's like, yeah, you kind of look like, remember Rambo? He looks kind of puffy in the beginning of Rambo, and then Rambo 2, he comes back, he's all shredded, stroking his ego, and Tug's like, yeah, you think so? Yeah, you think so? Snatches that fucking map from him and hands it to Sandusky. Bro, we're fucking lost. What the fuck? We went the wrong fucking way. The group parts ways. This is where we finally get our walking through the jungle montage. Yeah. Tug has been separated from the group, so at this point he's like hiding in this little hut, and it's raining, and he looks all depressed. He's watching fucking Star Trek on his iPhone. It's not even an iPhone, it's an iPod. He's watching it on like an iPod. He's watching like Star Trek on an iPod. Killed a panda bear. This whole time, all of these actors still think they're in a movie and everything is still all like controlled. Tug Stevens kind of lost it in this little hut wearing a fucking panda head hat. It's kind of terrifying. He's actually captured by Vietnamese rebels. So now the rebels have Cody, Four Leaf, and Tug. Tug is finally brought to the leader of this like Vietnamese rebel camp, and it's like a little child. And so they're just like beating the shit out of him, like blah 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 blah. And then he's like whacking him with a fucking stick. He's like, please, don't hurt me. The kid's like just stops in his tracks. He's like, what was that? These like heroin dealing Vietnamese rebels. The only movie that they ever had access to is a VHS tape of Simple Jack. Rick storms into Les's office about the fucking TiVo. Les's office gets a call from the Vietnamese rebels like, we have Simple Jack. You pay us whatever amount of money. or we'll kill him. And Les is a piece of shit, and he just like goes off and just starts being like, he thinks it's another studio. Meanwhile, Rick thinks that it's like another agency trying to steal his client, yelling at him, threatening him, calling him a bunch of fucking mean names. So the rebels at this point decide that they're gonna make, while they wait for the ransom money, they're gonna decide to have Tug Speedman reenact Simple Jack every day. And so I guess he starts to lose his mind a little bit. Portnoy is kind of indisposed. Sandusky's just trying not to get murdered in the jungle. Alpha and Kirk just having banter back and forth. They had one good role in this movie for a black guy, and they gave it to fucking Crocodile Dundee. Be Australian! I was a saucier down in San Antonio. The whole, like, scene there is just... primo. Portnoy's throwing up and he notices the camp because they've passed over the ridge at this point after walking through the fucking jungle for as long as they have. I don't know, it's a movie. There's passages of time that we can't account for. Fuck it. We see this camp. It's like a heroin processing plant, essentially. They see Tug Speedman there getting dunked in water and be like, oh shit, what the fuck are we supposed to do? Night falls. They're just like scouting it, basically. They're scouting the thing because they saw Tug and they gotta go save Tug. So then they're like, well, how are the fuck are we gonna break these dudes out? And they're like, let's just do it like they did it in the book. I know, I didn't read the book. You fucking read the book? He's like, nah, it's time to save Tug. Robert Downey Jr.'s character, Kirk, is gonna be the distraction with Jeff Portnoy on the back of a bull. They full withdrawing from heroin. They throw him on the back of a fucking bull. It distracts the guards enough to let Alpha Chino go save Cody and Four Leaf. And everybody's really weirded out that Four Leaf actually has hands and doesn't have hook for hands anymore. Hand me those hooks. And he's like, man, I'm not gonna use them again, I swear. Kirk Lazarus's cover is about to be blown. You wanna know what kind of fucking farmer I am? And he starts shooting like 2 M16s filled with blanks because there's no kick on any of these guns. And he does the little cross thing and sits down and puts his head up. He's like, I'm a lead farmer, motherfucker. And he just blah, 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 blah. And that's when Alpha comes up and he's like, kind of guards them. Meanwhile, Kirk goes to try to get Tug to then get to the helicopter, get the out of there. Cody and Four Leaf are basically rigging some places with explosives so that way they can make an escape. They rigged the bridge. Kirk is trying to break through to Tug and he's like, I'm a dude dressed like a dude disguised as another dude. Kirk's character gets broken by Tug's character, who's been broken and wants to stay in the camp because he's happy that people like him as Simple Jack somewhere. Basically, these egos are so fragile that they break all the time. Anyway, they finally figure out who the they are after a minute or two. And it's time to get the out of there because shit's going down. At this point, they gave Ben Stiller like a child to be adopted, and I don't know, he comes back in a few minutes. And he's like, I don't want to leave Half Squat. I love him. He's cool. And then he comes running back across the bridge with Half Squat on his back, stabbing him in the back over and over and over and over again. He eventually yeets this fucking child off of him. They get in the helicopter and they off. Meanwhile, Les approaches Rick to be like, we're not going to pay the ransom, we'll just let him die. I mean, you can have a G5 or you can have Tug Speedman. And then we don't know what he thinks after that. It isn't until the very end, when the helicopter's rising and there's an RPG focused in on the helicopter, that all the actors and whatever's left of the crew is in. Meanwhile, Matthew McConaughey comes out of the bushes in Vietnam. Hey, I got your TiVo! And he throws the TiVo up and blocks the RPG from blowing up the helicopter so they could get away. And that's Tropic Thunder.
All right, man. Well, listen, you got your work cut out for you next week. But yet again, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know who this guy's name's Brandon. I've known this guy for 35 fucking years. And by 35 years, I mean maybe 3 years, actually. Sounds about right. So, guys, listen, he'll be back each and every week. Hey, Brandon, once again, tell them where they can find you at, man.
Don't.
All right.
There we go. All right, there we go. I like it.
Thank you very much, sir.
No problem, man. Thank y'all.
Salute?
Yeah, we're in.
It's not how you salute.
How?
See what I did there? I made this look good. I'm like, oh, there we go. There we go. There we go. All right, brother. Thank you so much, man.
Why don't you subscribe? It'll last longer.